everyone, welcome to WW Designs. My name is Nikki and today I have a really fun, really easy junk journal that we're going to make together. This is a perfect way to use up some of your pretty scraps or possibly print out one of those many kits you may have purchased but still haven't made anything with it. And you can make a lovely gift that you could give to people who you may not want to give them a traditional junk journal because you're worried they may not use them or something like that. But this is a birthday book. So you record the date of people's birthdays in it. And I think most people would appreciate getting something like that. So this is a great scrap buster. It's very easy. We're just going to do the whole thing from start to finish. And I hope it inspires you. You could start making these now and then use them as gifts for birthdays or maybe even Christmas this year if you have a lot of scraps you want to use up. So the first thing you need, obviously, is a cover. Now, I have gone for what I consider to be the simplest way to do all of these things. So we're not binding anything, we're not creating spines, doing all that difficult stuff. We're going to use a very simple hole punch to create holes, and we're going to tie it all together with ribbon, so you don't need any exceptional skills for that. And mine happens to be 15.5 centimeters by 13 centimeters. Of course, you can make them any size you want. But it all started, I had this scrap with a couple of little bits floating around, and I wanted that as my cover. I was determined to have it as my cover. So that is how I came up with this size. But please, this is something, it doesn't matter. You make it the size you would like to use. I didn't like the back of this cardstock, so I have put some coffee dyed paper on there. And so I did exactly the same with the back cover. The print will be on the back, and I have lined the inside just so they sort of match, even though, as you can see, those two bits coffee dyed paper are not what you would call a perfect match. But that's how we start. Now, I have inked all my edges. I think this took me hours literally inking all these edges, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I used my favorite vintage photo and a little dauber just to lightly ink up all edges of basically everything, because I wanted to try and give this a very traditional junk journal feel, because then it's a great way to show people what junk journaling can be all about, but in a gift form that they actually might find useful. So we have our covers ready to go. We'll get to decorating that after this. The next thing, we need 12 pages. So that is, of course, one for each month of the year. So I went through my stash. This was a piece of cardstock. I liked the back of it, so there was no need to do anything with that. This is a piece of paper. I bought these packs when a news agency near me stopped selling. They used to sell pretty papers, you know, to make your own invites and things with. They had a clearance sale and I grabbed some packs, and I just love this particular paper. It has a beautiful pearl finish. You probably can't pick that up on camera, but it is only paper, albeit heavy, but not enough. So I backed it onto a piece of cardstock that I had in my stash already. It's got a printout. I think this was one I got off Angela Kerr ages ago. I had that scrap, so I used that up. Now, these are not all exactly the same size. Reality is, when I was cutting all these out, I actually made a boo-boo, and one of them was not cut the right size. It was cut too small, and I almost turfed it and made another one. And I went, hang on a minute, how often do we do junk journals and not all the pages are exactly the same size? So I kept it, and then on purpose made a few others a slightly different size too. So again, like a normal junk journal, don't always have the same size pages. This was a freebie printout that I printed onto cardstock, but then I put a piece of book page on the back. Book pages, a very traditional item we often use, and this of course was printed on white cardstock, so to get rid of the white we put a book page on that one. This piece here, again just from my stash, The back was pink. I went, that's fine, it can stay. This is another printout that was onto white cardstock. So I've put some music paper on the back. Again, another very traditional thing we often use in junk journals. This is a printout. This is a kit from Seven Plaza. I think it's one of her mega bundles that I bought ages ago. Again, on white cardstock. This is another piece of this pretty paper I bought from that newsagent, so I have backed it with that. This is another freebie printout I had in my stash. I only had like half a page. This was from, I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Piece of coffee dyed paper on the back of that one. This is a piece of cardstock that was in my stash. I liked the back, so didn't do anything with that. This was a little 6x6 sheet I had floating around. It was damaged down the edge, so it became a page. I've put a book page on the back of that one. This is a very pretty piece of cardstock with a bit of gold foiling on it. The back was blue. I'm okay with that. Another piece of cardstock. Don't love the back, but don't hate it, so left it as it was. And finally, another piece from an 8x8 paper pad pack. Again, I had cut a strip out of it, so I had a piece left. I've used that. It had marble on the back. Don't mind that either, so left that as it is. So all of the ones that don't have a backing are what I would call a good quality cardstock. It's not really thin, because we want these pages to be, you know, relatively tough so that they go the distance. So now that we've done that, we can start decorating. And what I've done is created 12 different pocket / tuck spots so that each month gets something slightly different. Again, it's a great way to show your friends what junk journaling is all about. So none of them are difficult. They are all the most straight, easy cut version you can imagine, because I want this to be a project that anybody can tackle if they would like to. Great way to start junk journaling. So we have some very simple bits that we are going to add to this. I thought a nice little bit of lace would look pretty down in the corner. And then I have made this frame with the word birthdays. I've also made little tabs with all the months. I have a free printable available over on my Ko-fi page. I will put a link to this down below, and you can print it out for free. Now, yes, this does look a bit fussy, and cutting it out, yes, I tried to be quite careful. But one thing, when you use something like this, if you have any little white bits left, guess what? You can't see them anymore. So that's why I like inking edges. And I've got this gorgeous little butterfly that has been covered in glossy accents. I didn't make this. This came as I got this as a gift somewhere, but I thought a pretty sparkly butterfly would be perfect for our cover page. So again, I've kept everything very simple. All I'm going to do here is throw down some glue to attach my lace. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to sit there, which it will do if you just give this a few minutes to dry. And I'm going to do the same with this. Just run some glue around the edge. Might put a little bit in the middle. We'll stick this down. And the same with the butterfly. So again, I've gone for a very traditional theme to try and bring all my papers together and provide a little bit of unity, because as you saw, they're all very different and not necessarily what I would call fully coordinating. I've decided to give this a botanical theme, so that means the use of flowers and butterflies, things like that, and that way when you're flipping through it, you will see a little bit of unity. So I'm going to put this aside to dry now. That needs just a couple of minutes, so we'll get to that. I am not going to put any decoration on the back. I really can't see the point, so we'll just put that aside. So our very first month, so this is January, and I have gone for a very simple angle cut pocket using a piece of book page that is attached to this spare piece of cardstock. I could have used this side, but I decided no. Again, great way to introduce family and friends to what junk journaling is all about, and that means using book pages for decoration. Why not have that on the first page? And this, of course, is a very busy print too. So I thought, okay, that's what we're going to do. So this is just a very simple pocket, and I'm placing it.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oops, excuse me, Mr. Watch, it's all good. I know what I'm doing. Others may not. So just a little bit of glue to hold that in place. And then for deco, I have a pretty fussy cut floral piece. Again, I have done all the edges so that we sort of get everything to match. And I have our first label. So I have got labels for you for every month. And then finally a little flower. So what I want to do is stick this down, but I don't mind a little bit of it poking out over the top. I don't need it to fully sit within the confined space of the pocket. I like things that sort of hang over the edge a bit. It creates a little bit of visual interest. So we're just going to pop this down like that with a little bit of it poking out over the top. We're going to place our little January label on next. I've just printed these out on normal copy paper. A couple of them I have backed onto other paper where they're actually going to hang over the edge a little bit. I'll show you that when we get to it. But the ones that are going straight down flat, printed and then lightly inked around the edge, normal copy paper does the trick. And then just this one little flower. I just went through my stash, threw a heap of things down on my desk and went, okay, what can I use? So I've pre-planned what I'm putting on each pocket to save time. But as you can see, trying to have a little bit of coordination. Also didn't want to have bugs and butterflies on every single one of them. Decided some of them can just have a little bit of floral attribute. And so there we go, a very simple pocket. We'll get to what we're going to put in the pockets when we have done them all. So that's that one. Now it's time for February. And for this one, I have done another very traditional pocket. This is just a rectangle with the circle cut out with a round hole punch. Again, very simple, easy pockets. No triple folds, no fancy schmancy stuff with this journal, because that's not what this is meant to be about. This is something that's quick and easy for anybody to do. So I've just used all nice, simple pocket arrangements. And also because it's not a journal as such, it's a date register for birthdays. We're not going to have all sorts of little extra bits of paper and things being added to the journal, I wouldn't imagine. So why do we need double and triple pockets? Let's just keep things nice and simple. And I'm just getting this right over, virtually right to the edge. We don't want to go... We want to have a little bit of space. I mean, you won't be opening this like a normal book as much, but you don't want anything to encroach over on to your hole. So nice simple pocket. And for deco, I have got a little, this is a scrap from a printable. I've had this in my stash for umpteen years. This is why I don't throw out all these little scraps. I keep scraps that have printed words on it. I keep colourful scraps. I keep them all because sometimes you just want a cute little piece, and this way you don't have to destroy an entire new sheet just for a little bit. This is a die cut I was gifted from one of my swaps. I just liked the colour and I liked the size of it. So again, this is not going to be under pressure. It's going right across the pocket, so we don't have to worry about it being perfectly glued. As long as we put a little dob on all the leaves so that it does sit down. And I'm just going to feed this one, I thought maybe sort of across this pocket. And because this is not cut on thick paper, I don't want it hanging over the edge because it will bend more than likely, and that's not ideal. And then of course we have our little February label, which we're going to place on here. I thought down over there somewhere. There we go. We have another very simple pocket all done. Now it's time for March. And what I did here, I found this very cute journaling card in my stash. It's a cut apart, obviously was part of a 12 by 12 scrapbook sheet. This was sent to me again in Happy Mail, and I loved the bee. So what you can do with journaling cards, the simplest way to use them is just to make a little tuck spot. Now, you can put it down in the middle, which I'm going to do. Or you can do down the side, you know, either side, and put it further left or right. But in this case, I'm just going to make a really simple tuck spot with this pretty journaling card. And the next thing, this is a printout. Honestly, I cannot tell you where it's from. Some of these things I have had in my stash for so long. I wish I knew where I got them all from, but I just cannot remember. This is definitely one of those. I don't know if it's a kit I purchased, if it's a freebie. I just had a couple of these pieces, and these are the sort of projects where you can just use these things up. And I loved the color tones in this. Which way? No, I think we want the peony up the right way for this. So let's pop that and have a look. How is this for a perfect fit? See, it was meant to be. There we go. And then of course our little March label. So feel free to make your own, or maybe use some if you have any month things in your stash, use them by all means. But I thought I made these for myself to make this project, and I thought I would just offer them on my Ko-fi page so that you don't have an excuse not to do this job. You see, there we go. So that is another really simple pocket, and I picked this one because we've got a tiny sort of hint of oranges and browns. I thought this journal card was a great match for March. Done deal. Now we are moving on to April, and another very traditional thing is a belly band. So all we do is you add a little bit of glue across the top, and you add a little bit of glue across the bottom. Now, traditionally, a lot of people do stick this right in the middle of the page, but I really like all this sort of advertisement mock-up here. So I am going to put it a little bit over to the side. There's no rules with these. You can put them wherever you like. And I just sort of want it over there for something different. So just pressing those down. And then for decoration, this is a die cut circle from a magazine. I think 2 videos ago I did a video about using magazines to build your die cut stash, and this was one of them. It's going to hang over the edges, so it was obviously only flimsy magazine paper, so I did back it onto a piece of white cardstock. No one's going to see the back, so it doesn't matter. And again, I don't want to glue the whole way. I'm going to leave the sides alone, because yes, it's going to hang over the sides, and we have to put a card in behind it, so we don't want it too far over. So we're not gluing the whole way. Oh, wait a minute. I've just realized this angle. I better be a little bit careful here. That stem. No, I should be fine. So there we go. So that's quite strong and stable. It won't get damaged, you know, putting the card in behind it. And I just fussy cut this cute little butterfly I picked a few in a very vivid blue just for some nice contrast. And we'll just pop that over there. He is printed on cardstock, so I don't mind a tiny bit of his wing hanging over the edge there. And this is one of the ones where I backed it onto cardstock. It's going down here, and a flimsy piece of paper, too risky that it may bend. So I think it's better to play it safe and keep it a bit stronger. So of course, again, we don't want glue right to the ends. Oh, I may have put a tiny bit too much on there. So what I'm going to do, what I always have handy is a piece of baking paper. So if I glue something down and I'm worried I may have got carried away with glue, I throw a piece of baking paper in just for a few minutes. The glue doesn't stick to it like it does to cardstock, and that way it's easy to remove and you don't actually accidentally stick things where you don't want them to be, because I may have got a little bit carried away with that glue. So you just let it sit there for a couple of minutes. Glue dries quickly, and then you can just gently nudge this out, and voila, you don't have to worry about sticking things down where you shouldn't have. That is April done. Now, time for May. And what I did was I die cut out a piece of music sheet that I had backed onto simple white cardstock, and we're going to make a tuck spot with this. Now, I've cut it a little bit more than half, probably not quite 3/4, because I was worried that half might be a little bit too shy. So I thought, right, we'll just, it doesn't, again, there's no rules for this. You make whatever you want, and then we're just going to glue that down there. So now we've created a very simple tuck spot. And we need a little bit of decoration. So what I did with this one, I grabbed one of the pieces of cardstock that I'm using, came with a sheet of cutouts. They're like little mini journal cards. So I thought we're going to stick one of those on there. Again, just trying to mix and match a few pieces and make things blend together a little bit, because everything I'm using is so different, but sometimes you can just add little bits and pieces and then creates a bit of unity. So we're going to add that cute little thing there. Then we're going to add our little May. Now I'm thinking I might have to do the, okay, so this now, what I've done, I've put too much glue down this end, which is the end that's going to hang over possibly a little bit. We'll find out in a minute. But again, we'll just throw the baking paper down to save the day. Actually, I might put that right down below there. That way we don't hide the really pretty frame. See, and now there is definitely a bit of glue there, but just let that sit for a few minutes, and if you don't apply any pressure, your glue will be dry and you don't have to worry about it sticking down where it must not stick. And then I just thought I would add this one little flower because I had this one left over, and I thought we'll just pop that down there. There we go. And I'm just going to let that sit there just for a few minutes. Next, what are we doing? We're doing June. Now, this is very similar to one I've done before. These, I don't know where I got these from. This is actually hand painted, and I've got a few of them. So I thought I'm going to do exactly the same thing as I did with the other journal card. We're going to make a tuck spot, but I think I might put it down the side here. It doesn't matter whether you do the top, the bottom, or down the side, but I think we'll do this one down the side just for the sake of it. As I said, it really doesn't matter which way you do it. But I thought this is such a pretty card. What a beautiful pocket sort of arrangement. And because it's so pretty, I wanted very little decoration. So what I did, I've got my little month tab here for June, which we're going to place down the bottom. Because I don't want to hide all that beautiful paint. It's so pretty. And I just found this cute little orange butterfly this time. I thought that was a good change of colour, but also was one of the smaller ones in my collection. And I just want that hiding right down there. There we go. So, doesn't get much simpler. This is great, you know, if you've got a collection of postcards or anything else, maybe a cutout from a pretty card that you got given for your birthday or something. This is the easiest way to make a tuck spot in your journal and actually use up some of these pretty pieces. So that's June done. Now we're heading to July. And this time, oh, excuse me, that's the phone. I will return. Okay, so I'm back. It was just my neighbour needing a little bit of help. This next one is what we call a top tuck. So all we do is add some glue across the top. Nowhere else. And pop this down. I always like to leave a little bit of space just so you get that little sort of contrasting frame. Then we have this cute little butterfly tag, which I'm going to pop down there. I don't mind it hanging down. So let's not glue in the wrong spot. It's decent cardstock. It doesn't need to be, don't have to worry about it. It won't bend or anything in a hurry. So we'll pop that down there. And then I found this little butterfly in my stash. So why not add it as well? And of course, our July. Might just shimmy that over a little bit. There we go. And that's July, all done. Next, we're moving on to August, and we're going to have a heart shape this time. I just cut this out with a die cut, but of course you can just trace one or cut it out by hand. But I'm not going to put it down this way because you don't have much room to glue. I'm actually going to put it down here on a bit of an angle so that I can at least get a bit of glue happening to make a good little tuck spot. There we go. That will be enough for what we need. We'll get that down into the corner. And then I have, again, another little die cut. This matches, it's from the same set as another one that I used earlier. So again, a little bit of cohesiveness happening. And then we'll pop our August down. And I've just had a thought. I don't like the way this butterfly is being covered up the way it is, and it didn't glue down well on the end. So you know what? I'm just going to trim this bit off here. I do things like this sometimes. It's been annoying me ever since I put it down. And then I'm going to just very gently, might need a bit more ink. Just very gently try and ink that edge up. There we go. Oh, I do like that better. That way Mr. Butterfly is not being covered up. What I should have done, of course, was put this down first and put that over the top. Didn't think about that until it was too late, but that's okay. We're allowed to change our mind, and luckily I had the chance because I didn't put any glue right at the end, so I was able to lift it up. Otherwise, I would have not had a hope in hell. And we have this one last flower. Yep, we'll put it down there. This is again from the same collection. No idea where I got it from. And that can go slightly over the August. There we go. So that's a little heart tuck spot. Now, where are we headed to next? We're going to September, and we're going to use a little envelope as a pocket. So, but it's also going to be a tuck spot. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to just glue down the bottom of the envelope. I just had this one in my stash and it seemed like a good match. So we're going to place that down the bottom so it becomes a tuck spot in its own right. And then we're going to add decoration into it. Now I am cheating with this piece. I found this in my stash. I thought it matched perfectly with the theme that I was doing. It was definitely a gift. I got it in one of the swaps that I did, but I absolutely love it and I think it matches perfectly. So that's what's going in the envelope, just so it doesn't look like an empty envelope. And then, of course, this will actually be a tuck spot. Whoops, a daisy. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm going to have to, I didn't put that down very straight, did I? So let's just add a little bit more glue here. It has torn off the print down there, but of course no one's going to see that. But that was just a little bit too crooked for my liking. That's a little bit better. Okay, happier with that. And then this, of course, is a bit boring, but this is so decorated. I don't think we really need to add anything else, that I will just use the month and plop it right in the middle. Whoops, maybe not upside down, hey? There we go. And I think that's enough deco because this is sort of so cute. So that's September. Now let's go to October. And we are going to use a tag to make a tuck spot. So I've got this little tag here. We need to add some thread to it. Oh, let's get some decent scissors for this. So I want to tie. I want to put this through the tag so that it looks like a tag. Actually, why don't we, maybe we can do it this way. Let's get the non-frayed end for now. Put this through there. There's no reason why tags can't become a tuck spot. They don't always just have to be put into a tuck spot. I just die cut this from a piece of scrap cardstock. It's got the marbling on the back, which is fine because no one's going to see that anyway. Now, is this long enough? It is, if I'm very gentle and just keep nudging it down until it's tight. There we go. That works. So I think we're going to place this about there. So I just want to run some glue along the side. I don't want to, you can also do the side and the bottom if you want to put it down in the corner. But in this case, I think we might go in the middle rather than, of course, when you're doing this, make sure you glue the correct side. Mind you, in fairness, if you did accidentally put the glue on that side, you just put it over on that side. That's the easiest way to save the day there. Now, just found a couple of little scraps and things for this one here. First, I wanted a little bit of darkness to help provide some contrast. So this is just a little scrappy strip. I've torn a little bit off the top and the bottom. Again, very traditional thing with junk journaling is to use torn pieces. So I thought this was a great way to do that. Then I have a tiny little scrap of music sheet, which I have very gently inked the edge of. And I know it's going down the wrong way, so to speak, but let's be honest, that's another thing us junk journalers do sometimes, so why not do that here? Then I have this very cute little card. This is a printable printout from someone. I have no idea where. This is when you have lots of scraps and you have no idea where you got all these things from, but that's okay. This is a good project to use some of those up. So we're sort of heading right to the edge on that one. And then we have our little month piece. We're going to plop that right there so that we do see some of our little torn bits sneaking through the edge there. This one does hang over slightly and I didn't back it, but it's such a tiny amount, I really don't think that's going to hurt. So that's October done. Can you see how simple all of these are? Now, November. Again, I have cheated because I found this in my stash. So basically, you start off with a rectangle. You round two of the corners, add some decoration, which of course has already nicely been done for me. I don't think I'm going to add anything else to this. I think it's enough. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to make a tuck spot on that side. Now that I think about it, I probably should have put the tuck spot on the other side for the one we just did, but guess what? It doesn't matter. This was done on a piece of masterboard. You see, this is it. Use your scraps up. You get all these pretty things. You make all these pretty things. And this is a fun way to use them up. So that's gone down. The only thing we have to do is add our month. I really don't think this needs any further decoration. And we'll put that down the bottom here. Perfect. I love it. And that's that one done. See how simple this is? Lucky last, it's December. Was going to do a Christmas theme, but then I thought, no, this is a birthday journal. And I know people that have their birthdays in December sometimes feel ripped off. So we're not doing anything Christmassy. We're going to keep it florally. We're just going to do a very simple triangle pocket. Doesn't get much easier than that. Now, I want glue on this side and this side. So my trick is to hold the side where I don't want glue. I think I learnt this off Angela Kerr, and it has saved my bacon a few times since I've started doing this, because when I don't do it, that's when I put the glue on the wrong bits, and sometimes that is a disaster, especially if you don't have another piece of whatever it is you so desperately want to use. And then we just pop that down right in the corner, but again, I'm leaving that little bit so we have this little frame of the print down below. And again, I found this in my stash. This has been printed on cardstock, so again, it's going to hang over the edge, so I need to sort of use this as my guideline and not apply glue to the top part so it can hang over. Otherwise, we will not see the cute little birdie there, which of course I want to see. Then we will add our December. And finally, another blue butterfly. Beautiful. Probably a tiny bit of glue under there, but it's not getting close to sticking down because it's layered up there. And so now we have done all of our bases. So we're going to put this together. Oh, hang on, no, there's one more thing I want to do. To the inside of the cover, I found this cute little bit in my stash. So this is, it could be two things. It could be used like a book plate, or you could write a little note to your friend and sign it. So that's of course up to you. Or if you, I know I've got some book plates somewhere, but I cannot find them anywhere. So we're not adding a book plate, but I found this and I think this will do the job beautifully. Or if you had a book plate for the front and then stuck something like this on the inside of the back cover as just a little note to your friend to let them know it's handmade with love and you hope that they enjoy using it. I'm just adding some glue stick because this is pretty thin paper, so then I prefer to use glue stick to pop those sort of things down. And I'm not going to put it right in the middle because I have this cute flower and butterfly that I want to put down here in the corner. There's another reason why I put the plain coffee dyed paper down, because I really didn't like the prints and it was just all too loud, and I wanted the inside covers to be a little calmer. So it doesn't really matter which way this flower goes. We'll pop that down there. And finally, another blue butterfly. I love these brilliant blue butterflies. I think this was a freebie from Artie Mays, if I remember correctly, but a long time ago. I've had it for ages. And we don't want that to go into this part. Keep that away from there. There we go. So now let's put this together. So, oh, hang on, just let me put the lid on my glue before it all gets yucky. So we have our base with the printed part face down. I've grabbed a scrap of ribbon. I hope this is going to be long enough. This is not brand new. I found this in my stash too, but I loved the colour of it, and I didn't have any more quite like this, so I thought, you know what, we can recycle. That's what junk journaling's all about, isn't it? And then we just have to make sure we get that sitting flat the right way. And now we can add our pages. So we start with December. Now I'm sure you're all saying to yourself, well, this is all very nice, but how do we record the birthdays? Well, I'm about to show you how we're doing that. I have made some cards. Now, I've also added to the free printable with the book plate and the labels a sheet of lined paper, which you can print out. It is already a sort of dirty coffee colour. This was just printed on normal white cardstock, so you don't have to go mucking around and coffee dyeing paper or anything like that. These are all ready and good to go for you. You just have to cut them down to size. Now, I started off with an A4 sheet. You can still print this onto US letter size. It'll work just fine. But I found I didn't need exactly the same size for all the different types of pockets. I needed a variety. So some I've cut bigger, some smaller. I just wanted them all to stay encased in the card so that, you know, they don't get damaged. So on here, you just have to write name and the birth date. And if you have a friend that, let's say, has a lot of friends, you know they do, then why not put 2 cards in each? The beauty of this type of binding, when you just use ribbon and holes, you don't have to worry about spines and how thick it's going to be. You can make it as chunky as you want, add as much decoration as you want, and then it will end up sitting perfectly. So again, you just tuck your cards in. It doesn't get any simpler than that. So I'll just finish these and I'll be back when they're all done. Okay, so we now have all our sheets together. They're all beautifully slotted in. Each one has its own little card. And I had another thought. Before putting this all together, what you could do, for example, print out a double batch of these papers, but then cut out a piece and stick it on the back here. No, nothing else, just the paper would be fine. It could be a handy place to write notes like presents given and received, or maybe present suggestions. You know, sometimes during the year, someone says, I'd love this or that, and you forget about it by the time you need to buy them a birthday gift. It could just be handy to have a bit of note paper stuck down on the back. It was just another little thought that I had as I was putting this all together. So now that they're all done, all we have to do is tie this together. And what I'm going to do, I think I will knot it before I bow it to hold it nice and firm in place. There we go. And then we add a little bow. And we're done. And how cute is this? This is just such a pretty little project, except what I'm going to do, I've just realized, let me see. I might just, yeah, I think that bow is enough. I just need to trim off this one because it's a bit too long. There we go. And we're done. And we now have a really cute little birthday book with lots of traditional junk journal elements that you can give to someone as a gift, or of course, use it for yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments box below. And until next time, oh look, if you do make one of these, can you tag me if you share your goodies on Instagram, WW Design Studio? I would love to see what you make. And if you have a minute, please give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Until next time, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye for now.